guys, we are going to go ahead and get started with Startup Grind. Thank you guys so much for coming. Who has never been to a Startup Grind before? Wow. Who has been to 2 Startup Grinds? Great. Well, thank you guys so much. Huge thanks to the conductor team for making these happen. These are a huge group effort. So Startup Grind is run by Google for Entrepreneurs. It's an international program, happens in over 200 cities around the world. We're really lucky to have the Arkansas chapter based in Conway. So every single month we have a fireside chat like this with a local influencer, entrepreneur, or change agent. So we are extremely grateful to have the mayor with us tonight. This is exactly the kind of conversation we like to have, someone who is making a difference in our state, and it gives you the opportunity to get to know them in a different way and ask questions. So we're going to have a 30, 45-minute chat, and then you guys ask questions at the end. So we encourage you to think about what you want to ask, be social on social media. Our Twitter is at AR_conductor, and our Facebook page is The Conductor. Our hashtag is FullSteamAR. So anytime you hashtag FullSteamAR. Oh, and thank you, Keaton. So we are giving away a Tacos for Life gift card to randomly to someone who tweets using that hashtag tonight. So I encourage you guys to do that. Tell people what you're learning and everything. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Huge thanks to Mayor Castleberry. I told him earlier, I love Conway, and it really is important to live in a place where you can talk to officials. I mean, that does not happen everywhere, so I'm thankful to be here and thankful that you're with us tonight. Mayor Bart Castleberry is the mayor of the city of Conway since January 2017. He's also a business owner. And previously, he was the director of permits and inspections and served as a fire chief for 20 years.
Correct.
So we're going to get started. Can you just start by telling us about yourself? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school?
Okay. I grew up here in Conway, Arkansas. I graduated from Conway High School. I'm a graduate of Arkansas Tech, and people give me grief over that. But it's a great school. But I met my wife, Melissa, in high school. We were high school sweethearts. So if you take the number of years that we dated, as well as the number of years we've been married 39 years. We've been together 42 years. So, but now we were only like 10 years old when we got married. So we have 3 sons. Sam, who is a academic advisor at Syracuse University. He is working on his PhD there. My middle son, Tyler, is a captain with the Maumelle Fire Department, and he's a paramedic. And then my youngest son, Zach, is a licensed commercial electrician, and he also owns a home inspection company. We have 3, soon to be 4 grandchildren, and my wife just retired this year hi, Melissa, y'all show her who you are. My wife just retired this year after a number of years of teaching in the Conway School District. She's a registered nurse by education, but she taught school, and she is staying home now and keeping grandkids. So she's really enjoying that. That's kind of a rundown. We've owned 4 businesses here in Conway. We currently own Needs Creek Family Farms at Needs Creek, just outside of Spring Hill. And I was with the fire department here in Conway for 33 years. I was chief for 20 of those years. And after I retired from the fire department, Mayor Townsend asked me if I would be interested in working in permits and inspections. I'm also a licensed master plumber. And I said, well, I was really wanting to retire and just work at the farm. I said, well, how much does it pay? And he told me, and I said, no, I'm not interested in that. He said, what if it paid this? I said, yeah, I'll take that job. So I took that job, and from there, just decided to run for mayor. It's something my wife and I had thought about and prayed about for a long time, and that's kind of where we are today.
Awesome. So talk about what you did, your career path starting from graduating high school.
Okay. Graduated high school. I went to work for Arkla Gas at Centerpoint Energy now. And then I went to work for Mr. Roy Lee Jones, who was a plumber here in Conway for a number of years. Mr. Roy passed away here not too long ago, just a great gentleman. Worked for him for a while, and then my family has always been in business for itself. And I bought I was the 3rd generation to go into the grocery store produce business. And I ran that for a number of years in Conway, and then I became a firefighter. A lot of my friends were firefighters, and I took the test and got hired at the Conway Fire Department in 1981. I was a firefighter for 12 years, and then I took the test and got promoted to chief fire marshal's position. And about 3 years after that, the chief of the department retired, and I applied for that job and was promoted chief and retired in 2013.
So can you talk a little bit about the Needs Creek Family Farm. How did that start, and what do you do there?
We raise meat sheep, and I know folks go, "Oh, you eat them?" Well, yeah, that's what they're for. They're slaughter sheep. They're hair sheep. They don't have wool. So we raise those. We sell them to a wholesaler out of Salem, Arkansas, and then we sell to individuals as well. Our flock, sometimes it'll get as high as 70. We're down right now because the grass is short and not growing. We're having to feed hay, so our numbers are down. But we also have a big donkey out there named Cleo, and Cleo is the watchdog of the sheep. And she sounds like a thunderstorm coming across the field whenever a predator gets out there close to the sheep. But Melissa and I go out there quite often, sometimes twice a day, especially during the lambing season. And we just work with the sheep and make sure they stay healthy, and then folks buy them. And it's been quite successful. It's very peaceful. You can get on a tractor and a bush hog, and all your problems go away.
Can you talk a little bit about the business side of that, and how did you start that business and your other businesses that you've owned?
Okay. Like I said, the first business was my family-owned business, and it was grocery store, retail, wholesale, and it was based on a lot of good businesses, based on public service, based on customer service. We kept what the customer wanted, and if something spoiled or something wasn't good, we replaced it. We didn't argue with them. We just said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, and replaced it. I owned a plumbing company and a sprinkler company, and worked at that for a number of years. I plumbed up until the time I became fire chief, and it was also based on customer service. I worked pretty well 7 days a week. When I wasn't at the fire station, I was doing the plumbing. We'd take calls all hours of the night because, let's face it, if your commode's not flushing or you don't have any hot water, the wives are not happy. So we ran calls all hours of the night. And then when Melissa and I, when we started getting on up and decided we wanted to slow down, we researched the sheep business. And we looked at, from farm to table, and that's very popular with restaurants. And we researched the wholesale end of the business and decided this was something we wanted to do because sheep are a very hardy animal. They don't require a lot of upkeep. We've got water for them. We feed them when they need to be fed. But if you have your donkey out there who's taking care of predators, they're just an easy animal to work with. And you wouldn't believe it, but sheep is a very popular delicacy in Arkansas. So it stays pretty busy.
So can you talk a little about, you've been in public service for a long time. What does that mean to you, and why? I mean, talk about being fire chief and what that was like, and what does it mean to you to give back in that way?
Yeah. I love working at the fire department. You get to see people on sometimes their best days, but you really get to see a lot of people on their worst days. And it gave us opportunity. It gave me the opportunity to work with people, to help them. The Conway Fire Department, Conway has a lot of all of the departments in Conway are just really good people. The police department, sanitation. But to me, firefighters are special because I was one of them. But, I've seen those guys and girls take money out of their pocket and give to people who had suffered a loss. And to me, that was part of giving back, was just helping people when they were in need and working to make their lives safer, too. We worked really hard in fire prevention and keeping people safe and seeing that they were doing the right things. We were the first department in the state to put automated external defibrillators on our trucks. If, back in the day, we did manual CPR. Your chances of survival with manual CPR are like 4%. Okay, we did the math. If you can introduce electrical shock in the first minute, your chances of surviving are 90%, and you lose about 6 to 7% for every minute. So we took our average response time, our average call time, and we felt like we could make a difference in Conway people's lives. So we bought these AEDs and put them on all the trucks. In our first year, I think we had 6 or 7 saves, people who actually went home and enjoyed life, and that's been a tremendous success in Conway. Now you see AEDs on all the trucks all over the state of Arkansas. We were also the first fire department in the state of Arkansas to have a federally certified bomb squad. And the reason for that was our colleges. Back before cell phones, it was real easy to call in a bomb threat during exams. And everybody'd have to let class out. nobody could take an exam because, well, there's a bomb threat in there. Not to mention, we would shut businesses down whenever we would get a suspicious package or a bomb call to a business. We would have that somebody might give you a call time, a detonation time 3 or 4 hours out. So we just had to wait those out. So we were shutting businesses down for long periods of time, and it was costing people money. So we got the guys certified. They went to Quantico for 3 months, got certified. We bought all the equipment, the x-ray equipment. And whereas sometimes we were 3 and 4 hours out on getting a business back open, now they were going in, x-raying the package, boom, they were out in 30 minutes if there was nothing to it. So we've done a few things like that, but it was all about public service for helping the businesses in Conway and helping people who really needed help.
Perfect. Talk about being the director of permits and inspections. What did you do in that job, and what was that job like for you?
That was a lot of fun too. We inspect residential, commercial, and industrial sites. New construction, they have to have a plumbing inspection, electrical inspection, HVAC. In the state of Arkansas, and it may have changed since then, but in the state of Arkansas, all you have to be a certified inspector is 16 hours of training. So we had folks who had 16 hours of training going out on job sites, and I'm a master plumber. I've been a master plumber for, 30 years now. So you had guys who had 16 hours of training going out on a job site telling a master plumber or a master electrician that this is wrong. Well, why is it wrong? Well, because I said it was. That was not good public service. Our job in Conway is to help entrepreneurs and help businessmen and women be successful, and we were not doing that. So I took over, and everyone in that job now is licensed in their field. Licensed electrician. It takes 5 years to be a licensed electrician in Arkansas. It takes 5 years to be a master plumber in Arkansas. It's just like going to college. So now we have people who are licensed in that field that are overseeing these jobs and looking at them. And the great thing is now they're technology, whereas in the past, if something failed inspection, you had to pay a re-inspect fee. The inspector had to come back out. It cost you more, a little bit more to do it. Now, since everyone's licensed and knows what they're talking about, they'll take a picture of that. If you're the contractor, the plumber, you'll take a picture, send it to the plumbing inspector, and he'll look at that and he'll say, you're good to go. Doesn't cost you a dime. That helps. It saves you money. It's user friendly, and it makes people successful. And that's what we want to do.
Great. Talk about after that job when you decided to run for mayor and why you decided to run for mayor.
My wife and I had been talking about running for mayor for years. It had always been kind of the back of my mind, and I was really unsure. When it came time, I had a lot of people come to me and say, we want you to run for mayor, and we'll support you. But I really, really wasn't sure. So Melissa and I, we're people of faith, and we both prayed about it. I prayed about it individually. We prayed about it as a couple. She prayed about it individually. And one day, I got the confirmation I needed from the Lord. And the same day, she said, I've got confirmation you're supposed to run. So I said, okay. God never promised me I was going to win. He never said you're going to win. He just said, I want you to run. So I told my wife, I said, win or lose, we're going to step out in faith and see what happens. We're here today.
So what's it been? So you began in January 2017, so almost
a year.
Exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
So what's the last year been like as mayor?
It's been a tremendous learning curve, steep hill to learn everything. I have a lot of help with my chief of staff, Jack Bell, and Felicia Rogers, my administrative assistant. I have tremendous help from the city council and department heads. People have really been patient, but you have a huge learning curve. And I'm usually in the office by 7:30, and I get home when I get home. But I like to tell people I'm having the time of my life. I really am.
I can tell. Can you talk about? Well, you talk a lot about Conway's infrastructure. I think it's kind of been a big legacy of yours over the last year. Why does that matter to you? And can you talk about your plans to build a sustainable community in Conway?
Sure. Conway is a tremendous city. We've had great leadership in the past, and you can just look around you at all the things that are going on in Conway, and those are all great things. What I'm trying to do is catch us up on our infrastructure, specifically our streets. As you know, we recently passed a sales tax that are for our streets, as today, we have about $45 million in street repairs that need to be made, and we lose 3.17%. We lose $3.1 million of streets every year. They get to the breakover point. There's a point where your streets cannot be overlaid. They have to be torn out and rebuilt. So, and we have a grading system now that grades the street using high-speed cameras and GIS, and it gives us our streets that are at the breakover point, that if we can go in and overlay those streets before they get to a certain point, then we can add 10 years of life to those streets. And then if we maintain that overlay, we can add another 10 years. So our plan is we'll start getting our first money in June. You're going to see asphalt going down in a lot of places in Conway. We're going to concentrate on overlays the first couple of years, and then we're going to start tearing streets out and rebuilding the ones that have to be rebuilt. And yes, there will be roundabouts. I love roundabouts. They move traffic. They really move traffic. Roundabouts are included in that. And in areas where we have to go in and tear out sidewalks, we're going to put sidewalks back, because walkability and rideability is something that we really are working on in Conway, and something we need.
I've read things that you have said, and that you and I talked about, that you're doing this in response to constituents who have talked a lot about streets and traffic. I mean, is that something? I think you said that was probably the two biggest things people talk to you about.
Yeah, streets and traffic during the election. That's the one thing everyone talked to me about. But even today, people are, especially at church, all these folks come up to me, all my great friends at church, when you go get started fixing my streets, But yeah, streets was really high on everyone's priority, and the roundabouts. Some people don't like them, but the majority of folks love the roundabouts, and they are safer. I don't have the exact statistic, but they are safe. The most of your fatal accidents are at intersections. If you follow me up on that, I think that's correct. Either way, it's a high number. When you put roundabouts in, then you decrease that number. So roundabouts not only move traffic, but they're much safer.
And when can we expect to see the overlay work starting?
You'll start seeing the overlay starting in June.
June, mm-hmm. Okay. So you talked about walkability. Can you talk about our parks and trails and,
Sure.
and bike paths?
We are... We add trails every chance we get. As a matter of fact, we have a developer who's developing a new subdivision, and the back side of that property ties to one of our existing trails. He's going to donate that to the city. He said, if you guys will just keep it mowed for me, he said, I'll build the track and tie it in. And if you got, I said, yeah, we got lawnmowers, we can take care of that. So we're adding tracks, walking tracks and bike trails in as many places as we can. We're looking at building a new dirt bike track at the old landfill. It's just sitting there growing grass, and I'm working with some folks there to maybe bring that, and hopefully we can tie that in to our existing trails. And eventually we want to be able to tie in from there and go all the way to the river. Now, what would really be great, it'll never happen in my lifetime, could you imagine if we had walking and bike trails on the levee of the Arkansas River that went from Conway to Little Rock to Hot Springs? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, that'll never happen in my lifetime, but we've kind of got it on the radar out there, just getting folks to think about it. So, but rideability and walkability, especially for the younger generation, that is huge. And before we can ever get to a public transportation system in Conway, we have got to develop walkability, because it doesn't do any good if we get the transportation, whatever mode we use, unless we can get it to the people, and the people can get to that. So walkability is something that as a city we really got to strive for.
And I appreciate it, because I'm going to get married on one of those trails here in the summer.
Yes, you are.
Can you talk a little bit more about quality of place? And you mentioned young people care about that. What else are we doing entertainment-wise, culturally, to create quality of place in Conway?
Well, as you all know, we have a thriving downtown in Conway. And whenever a business or an industry comes to a city, they want to see what your downtown looks like, because it's a good reflection of you. They want to see what your education system is like, which we have a great one in Conway, and they want to see what your medical system is like. So in those three areas, we are really doing well. So how that relates to quality of life is it brings people to Conway. You can't bring someone to Conway. I can't ask you to move to Conway if you don't want to be here. If there's nothing in Conway that says, hey, I want to be part of this community, then we're failing somewhere. So you're going to continue to see us as a city do the things that draws the younger people to Conway, that draws businesses to Conway. Those are quality of life things. It's good restaurants. It's good amenities. It's things to do. We're going to build our first splash pad in Conway in 2018. It's going to be a big one. We just got a matching grant from the Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism, and we're going to build a nice big splash pad out at Laurel Park, and then hopefully we're going to build some throughout Conway in the lower to moderate income neighborhoods so that kids can have a good time. So we're doing a lot of things like that, but you're going to see us continue to move forward in Conway to have the amenities and the quality of life. We've got a great fire department. We've got a great police department. Sanitation, Conway Corporation, that's the goose that laid the golden egg. We have some of the best water and electrical rates anywhere in the state. We have high-speed internet. We have a lot of things in Conway going for us as far as quality of life, and it makes us just a great place to live. And I got to take my hat off to the leaders all the way back to David Kinley and Bill Wright and Jim Brewer, who started back there and have moved through the past administrations. We've had a lot of great leadership in Conway.
Awesome. And a quick follow-up to that, can you talk a little bit about the bike sharing program that we have in Conway?
That was actually the idea of the past mayor, Mayor Townsend, and it's been a huge hit. When it first started, I was a little skeptical. I thought, okay, Arkansas summer, August, and the first day I went by each one of those bike racks, they were empty, and there were people all over the bike trail, all over Conway. So it's been a very successful program, and hopefully we can add to that in the future.
Great. Okay, can we talk about Central Landing and what is the status of that?
We are going to close on Central Landing this Tuesday, and they are talking with a different developer now, who is really going to, if it goes through, and if this developer does partner with the CDC, it is going to be bigger and better than the first one. They are actually interested in a couple of other areas in the city that are close to the Central Landing, that would be more retail, slightly off-site, but in the same proximity to it. So it's I hope it goes. But as far as us getting paid and settling with CDC, that takes place Tuesday, and then I think you'll start seeing some real good movement there. But it's exciting.
Right. Okay, so I want to talk about business for a little bit and why Conway is a good place to do business. So Forbes recently ranked Conway as one of the top 7 cities in the nation to start a business, and the things they mentioned specifically are colleges, coffee shops, median home value, average rent and mortgage, and the internet speeds offered by Conway Corporation was specifically mentioned in that article as well. Can you talk about why you think this is a good place to start or relocate a business?
Well, you just covered all of them. Yeah, I mean,
That's true.
That's it. You got it.
Sure did.
One, it is cheaper to do business in Conway. Housing is less. You just think you have the talented workforce pool we have in Conway, Arkansas. You have 2,000 new people that come to Conway every fall. You have 2,000 people or somewhere around that graduates every fall that are looking for a place to work and looking for great jobs. So we have a tremendous talent pool in Conway annually. The cost of living is cheaper in Conway. Conway is a safe place. It's a great place to raise your family and your kids. We are, as you said, what were number 7?
Conway Corporation? Oh, number 7.
Yeah, number 7. So there's a lot of great things going on in Conway, and especially the younger generation. Y'all are the most educated, technologically advanced generation alive. I mean, and Conway is where we want to see you plug in, and you will do well here. And we would love for you to stay. We want you to come here and raise your kids, raise your grandkids, and stay in Conway. When I retired from the fire department, I applied for a fire chief's job in Colorado, and I made it. I hadn't really told my wife. I just kind of said, I may apply for this. And well, I got a call back, and they wanted to go to the second round, and I said, well, they're kind of interested in me. What do you think about that? She said, well, I guess you can come home on weekends and visit because I'm not leaving my kids and grandkids. So we want you to stay in Conway and raise your families.
That is funny. So you mentioned specifically workforce. And right now the Arkansas State Chamber is working to boost our workforce through its Be Proud campaign.
Yes.
And so I wanted to talk a little bit about Conway's workforce and skilled trade positions and your stance on that.
Yeah. In the state of Arkansas, we have over 60,000 skilled labor jobs open today. Okay, I'm a college graduate, but I'm also a master plumber. And I like to use my own family as a good example. My oldest son, and I'll go ahead and say this, he's like his mother, he's brilliant. And yes, dear, you are. He's like his mother, he's brilliant. He's working on his PhD. Yes, he has 3 master's degrees. He loves it, loves education. He's an academic advisor at Syracuse. My middle son's a firefighter paramedic, great job. My youngest son is a licensed commercial electrician. College was not for my middle son or my younger son, but they got into the skilled trades. Now Tyler's is more of a profession route, but Zach got into the skilled trades because college wasn't necessarily for him. Now what's funny is the older brother will call his two other brothers and say, you know, you guys are going to have to call me doctor someday. And they both say, yeah, but we like own 10 acres each and 2 houses and 3 cars. You know, we don't care. You know, so, but college isn't for everyone. But in Conway, I mean, I when I was working upstairs at City Hall with plumbers and electricians, those guys and those ladies and those professions do very, very well. So if you go to college and you figure out, you know, hey, this isn't necessarily for me. In the state of Arkansas, we are lacking in plumbers, electricians, HVAC, welders, and truck drivers. And those jobs all pay very well. And they're working. If I would have stayed in plumbing, I'd have probably been a bazillionaire by now. But I got old and fat and couldn't crawl anymore, so I went a different route.
So what do you recommend for someone who wants to get into one of those positions?
Okay, if you want to, we'll start with my middle son, fire service. Best thing you can do is go to EMT school, get some study guides for firefighter entry level exam, get in good physical shape, and just take off after it. If you want to go to work as an electrician, a carpenter, plumber, there are people in Conway that will hire you. You go to work, you serve your apprenticeship, you learn how to do the work, you put forth the effort, and you become a master electrician or a master plumber. And let me tell you something. When I quit plumbing a number of years ago, I think the hourly rate was $75 an hour. Good example, a brain surgeon called a plumber to come to his house because his commode was stopped up. The plumber went, worked 5 minutes and left and gave the brain surgeon a bill for $150. He said, my gosh, I'm a brain surgeon. I don't make $150 for this small amount of time. And the old boy said, well, when I was a brain surgeon, I didn't make that much money either.
So talk about Conway High's Career and Tech School, which I didn't honestly even know existed until we talked.
Yes, Conway High School has a career and technical school. My wife taught in that. She taught medical professions. They have welding classes, and some of their kids that just recently graduated went to work in a lot of the industry here and are doing quite well. They teach HVAC. They teach carpentry. It's a good choice for some kids young ladies, men who are really mechanically inclined. Mm-hmm. Yes, they do have evening classes for adults. That's correct.
Great.
Right.
And do we have these kinds of jobs open right now in Conway? I mean, I know it's a big problem nationwide, but in Conway, do we have these jobs?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a number of friends who are contractors, and they tell me every day about we really need some folks in these areas. Napos Construction is a very, very successful company here in Conway, Arkansas. Employs a lot of people. They have offices nationwide. Just a good, solid family and good people. But they will tell you too that we need skilled labor. So yes, if you have the background, if you have the training in those jobs, you can absolutely go to work, and you can go to work for yourself. Once you get your license, you can go into business for yourself, and it's good work, and you will always have work.
Mm-hmm. And just to follow up to that, when in your career trajectory did you go to college?
I actually started college. Well, I started college right out of high school, and then the first deer season came around, and I didn't do too good that first year. So I went back in the early 90s and got all of my GED requirements, general ed requirements. And then we had kids, and I worked all the time. You know, I was at the fire department, and then I was plumbing, so I really backed off. And then as I kind of slowed down on that, I started back in around 2007.
Okay. And why did you decide to go back?
I just felt like it's something I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
It really applied to the job I had at the time at the fire department. And I like to learn too. I enjoyed it. I got through 4 years of college typing with 2 fingers, but I got through it.
Okay, talk about the future of Conway, the next 5 years, and what do you expect?
Well, as I said, you're going to see a lot of asphalt going down in Conway. You're going to see splash pads. In the IT department, one thing they've already started now, if you go to Conway, if you go to the city landfill and you have to take your hard copy of your Conway Corporation bill, you don't have to do that now. There's an app you can download on your phone that gets you right in there. You're seeing that in IT. Police department, they've got the bike patrol started back. You're going to see them on the bike trails. You're going to see those guys in the neighborhoods. Fire department, this year we approved 10 positions for them to send 10 firefighters to paramedic school. They're working towards paramedic engine companies. In the permits and inspections department, if you're a developer and you want to develop in Conway, in the past you had to bring a copy of your blueprint, big roll copy of your blueprint, and it went from permits and inspections to planning to the street department, to the sanitation department, to the fire department. From there, it had to be physically taken to Conway Corporation, where it went through all their departments. Red marks were made, lines were drawn, codes were written out. We gave that back to you. You had to take it back to your design professional, make the changes, and send it back to us, go through the same process again. This was not user-friendly. It was not customer-friendly, and we were not helping people be successful. You know, Glenn, if you took a big loan out for Development Conway, and we've held you up 8, 9, 10 weeks going through our processes, we're not a good partner with you. Very, very soon, and we've actually got it online now. They're working the few kinks out of it. You can PDF that file to the permitting department, and it PDFs to everyone else. Everyone makes their corrections, sends it back to you and your design professional, and we're hoping to have that cut down to a 29-day maximum, which is very doable in the contracting world. So you're going to see that in that department. You're going to continue to see us work with our downtown, with Central Landing, with Lewis Crossing. We've got some affordable housing that's going to be built, some new subdivisions that's going to be built. You're going to see pocket parks come into play in a lot of our neighborhoods. As we talked about, we're going to continue with our walkability and our rideability, and we're going to continue down the path we're going. But not only we're going to continue to do the great things, but we're going to work on our infrastructure underneath. We're going to take care of our streets, take care of our customers, and do the things that it's kind of like when you go on a cruise ship. You know, you're having a great time, but you never see everything that's going on down here that makes it work. Well, we're going to concentrate on those things too.
Great. And you mentioned earlier that you're having the time of your life, and it is clear that you're passionate about what you're doing. Are you planning on running for re-election?
I am, if my health holds out, and now if I win the lottery, I'm out. But I really am. And I'm not just saying, I'm having the time of my life. I love people. I love working with people. I love trying to solve problems with people. You know, there's some folks that are just not going to be happy, and we deal with those folks. But there are just so many great people in Conway who just like the community and enjoy the things we're doing, and it just gives you joy, and it's just a lot of fun to work with us. And we have our employees. We're having our employee appreciation party tomorrow. You know, we're all going to get together and eat and have a good time. Conway has a great number of great employees too. So I really do like my job. So yeah, I plan on running for re-election.
Great. All right, one more question before I open it up to you guys. What advice do you have for balancing all of this? So mayor and business owner and family, and how do you do all of that?
I married well. My family's very understanding. They were very understanding when I was fire chief. I missed Christmas dinners. I missed, you know, one Christmas Eve we had a fire that lasted for 3 days in an industrial building. they have been very understanding of me and my job. My wife knows now that if something happens at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I need to get up and go to work. I'll do that, and she'll run the farm and take care of everything else. So it's a good balance there that I have.
Great. All right, we're going to open it for questions. Who wants to get us started?
Hey, Glenn.
Sign the Big Pro Big Crowd website. You can put in the zip code and it'll tell you the jobs.
Yeah.
that are vacant, so that's a good resource. My question is, what has been your biggest surprise since you took office? Something you didn't you couldn't imagine and you had this surprise, whether positive or negative.
Every day is a surprise. Glenn, I've been so busy just learning, and everything was so new to me that a lot of things were a surprise. And I can't put my finger on one thing. Something may click with me here in a minute, but it's been a lot of fun. There's been some tough days. I went to the doctor one day for my regular checkup, and it was after a really tough day. And you'd have to know him. He's a great guy. And he took my blood pressure, and he said, "You must be having a tough day." And I said, "Yeah, I am." But he's a great guy, and I was on him about something. I've been an insulin-dependent diabetic for 47 years, and I was talking to him. I said, my endocrinologist retired before I died. I don't need you retiring before I died. And he grabbed my file, and he looked at it, he threw it down, and he said, "Not going to be a problem, Castleberry." So, but back to where we started on that, I can't say that I've had just any really big surprises. It's just been a tremendous learning experience every day that I've learned something new every day. Yeah. Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier just very briefly the economy and green. Can you expand on that? What do you see in the future, direction you'd like to go to make the city more green?
More green? Okay. Well, in our permitting and plumbing, in our planning division, we have plans in place for any new construction. They have to have so many square feet of green space. And our our code enforcement department, when the slow months get here, their job is to go back around to businesses I'm sorry.
Going in the wrong direction. I'm talking about as far as like green energy and things that the current squatters in the White House are doing with regard to the ecology. What do you see as far as going solar and permitting for solar ecology?
Okay.
As an example, and I'm talking about that type of thing.
Okay. We have one. It's kind of a slippery slope for one reason. When you go to the certifications in LEED certified buildings that we're talking about in construction, you have a bronze, a silver, and a gold level. I do believe that bronze and silver are attainable and are affordable. I don't know that as a city requiring the gold level would be friendly or conducive to business in Conway, because it requires a tremendous amount of expense to get to a gold level. But we do have, I know the Toyota building, Caldwell Toyota, they are a LEED certified building in Conway. Does that somewhat answer your question?
No,
Okay.
I'm talking about existing residences and like that, allowing solar panels.
You mean
Electricity.
residential? Are you talking about
Yes,
residential?
residential solar
Solar
and
panels on
like
roofs.
that. There's a lot of fight against that from energy companies because their job is to sell us power. And if you stick a solar panel on your roof and you feed excess energy back into the system, they don't like that. They don't like that because they lose money. And they're losing money because you're no longer the customer buying as much as their product. So where do you stand on
That's an interesting question, because Conway Corporation, I've had a conversation with their CEO today. They're actually looking at, they talked to me about some land in Conway where they can put solar panels. So I think that you'll see that Conway Corporation is.
solar rooftops if we care to go that way?
We didn't get that far in the discussion, but it was about solar energy.
And then as
So I think Conway Corporation is very open to that.
far as you stand on fracking?
Fracking, where do I stand on it?
Yes.
Well, if I had any land they could frack, I'd let them. So that's just an honest answer.
Next question. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. I want to piggyback a little bit off of Ken's last question in terms of kind of like
Okay. No, I did have employees. My plumbing company employed the most. I think I had 8 when I was at my top end on that. And of course, you have to pay your federal employee wages and FICA and all that. And you have to have insurance. Those things were somewhat costly, but we were producing enough business to take care of that. The other companies that my wife and I have owned have just been our boys and my wife and I. And we did sell the plumbing company. We sold all the equipment. We did not sell the accounts because they were all balanced out at the time, but we did sell all of our equipment. And it was fun. It was a learning experience. Probably the toughest part was the insurance and making sure that we kept abreast of that. And Melissa was the office manager, and that fell to her. But there's some federal guidelines and some hoops you have to jump through on that. Yeah, I did sell my grocery store. I sold it to another local owner, and they came in and ran it for a number of years with their family. We did same thing. No accounts receivable were sold, but we did sell all the equipment, the building, and all that. But small business, that is the majority of the businesses in Conway employ between 1 and 4 and 5 people. The big businesses in Conway that employ 800 to 1,000 people, they're like 55 or 60 of those in Conway. The majority of businesses in Conway are small business. In America, that's what makes us go. Yes, ma'am. Good question. Social media, the younger generation, that is the answer. But visit with me afterward. I will be glad to give you the names of some of my contractor buddies, and they are always looking for good people. Absolutely. You won't have any trouble finding work in Conway. Yes, ma'am. Working with the people. Just getting to I've met so many different people, and they have so many different varying opinions of what we do as a city. A lot of times I'll get calls from Conway County because they think it's us, and but people bringing their problems in and us working with them to get that. I've lived in Conway my whole life, so chances are I know someone you can call to make things work. That's my favorite part of the job. Working with the council, doing things that make life better for people in Conway, and just seeing Conway continue to prosper and do well. It's a lot of fun. It really is. There are tough days. There's some days I probably don't do well, but it's a lot of fun. Yes, ma'am. Hey. That's a great question. It's a great point too. We have so many organizations. We have so many individuals that have bought into Conway and that believe in Conway and want to help us grow and help us do good things. It's a cliche thing to say, but there's a real can-do attitude in Conway. Whenever we have something going on, we ask for people to, hey, would you be interested in helping this? Good example. We have some litter problems in Conway. People littering. I visited with my friend at City Church, Joey Cook. I said, "Hey, Joey, would you guys be interested in helping us pick up trash?" And he was like, "Yeah, we're there. You just tell us when." So it's just, we have churches, we have civic organizations, and individuals that just love our city and want to see it do good things. But I like the attitude here. You know, you hear about Northwest Arkansas. You know, they have a real can-do attitude as well. I think we have some of that.
To piggyback on that, could you talk about the value of relationships, and especially in Conway?
Yeah. When people ask me what do I think was the most important thing about running for mayor, it is about relationships. I mean, I know the younger generation, and I'm okay with it, are cell phones. You know, that's what we depend on. But relationships are what you build, and it's the people that'll stick with you. And to me, a first impression is your most important impression that you make of people. When I first met Kim here, she looked me right in the eye and gave me a firm handshake. I like a firm handshake. That's a dying art, and so a good first impression with people is so important. But building those relationships as you grow and as you get older, so that you can pick up the phone when you need something. You know who the contractor is. You know who that buddy is that can do that, and those relationships will follow you throughout your life. And I could not have been elected mayor had it not been for my past relationships and all the people who I had the chance to work with as the fire chief and as in code enforcement, who I'd gotten the chance to know, and we had built on those relationships. And when it came time to run for mayor, it helped make a big difference.
Awesome, and I appreciate the compliment. Did you have a, yeah?
Yes, I have a question. I'm from City, and there's a report that by 2020, Conway will have more residents than most Europe. So in that report, it says some people from most Europe even come to Conway to shop. So what's your view of future Conway? Will that be Conway will be a shopping city in this area, or Conway will have other industries?
I couldn't hear the whole question.
So, do you say Conway's going to have more stores than Little Rock?
No, they said some people even come to Conway to shop.
Oh, people.
yeah.
So in the future, we'll see Conway as a shopping city in this area, or Conway will have other industries.
So, what
No.
are the industries that Conway will have in the future?
Okay. As far as the industry, I can't answer that because I don't know what they are yet, but the market will drive those. But if we continue being the place that, like I said earlier, if we can continue being the city that people want to come to and want to live in, we will draw those industry. We're in discussions, right? DGB just bought out the old IC Corporation. They are investing like $3 million in that facility, and they're going to add employees. We're in negotiations now with some other companies that are wanting to come to Conway. So I think as long as a community, we continue to strive to be that quality of life area that people want to live in, then I think you're going to see the industry come here because we have a talented workforce in Conway.
All right, we have time for a couple more questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's actually an ordinance in Conway now that any new streets that are built, they will have, we're calling them the side lanes now. So it's going to take a while to get there, but you will eventually see that. My wife and I, we bike, I'm the big guy with my legs that go out like this and the helmet sitting on my head. I'm real easy to spot. Don't ever hit me with your car. I'll do more damage than a deer. But yes, that is it's actually in ordinance now that anything we build will have a side lane.
Now, in regard to that, is it, I don't know if you've ever investigated it or not, is it cheaper to put a sidewalk off the street in, or to make more space for the sidewalk?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that.
Bikers and pedestrians would be safer on a separate walkway, if you will, that way?
Yeah.
With a little bit of
Yeah, I can't answer that, but I'll ask my street director. That's a good question. Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned city council, but more about the city government in Conway and the importance of city council?
Well, the council, really, I call myself a tiebreaker. The only time I get to vote on anything is if there's a tie with the council. We have a very active council. We have a very involved council. You can email them, you can call them, and they will respond to you. But we've always had a very progressive council, and a council that has always, even back 20, 25, 30 years, when you look at some of the guys that were on the councils back when David Kinley and Bill Wright were mayors, you look at Woody Cummins and Maurice Moix, and, they were businessmen. And they understood the importance of business and small business in Conway, and that is carried through to the current council. And they're, like I said, they're very involved. And if you ever need something from them, send them an email. They'll get you an answer.
And what advice do you have for young people who want to get involved civically and want to run for office?
Yeah, good question. Like I said, you're the most technologically advanced, most educated, talented generation on the face of the earth today. You can do anything you want to. If your interest is people and government, then run for JP, run for city council, run for state rep. And if you want to step out there on the federal level, you've got to start with your handshake and you got to start with your relationships. But start now, because it's not something you can do overnight. Start right now, developing those relationships. Find out what you're really interested in, where you'd like to make a change, and jump out there and as we say down here in South, get you some of that.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and end on that note. We always leave with a final question. What's one piece of business advice that you would leave us with today?
Always be honest in your answers, because if you ever skirt slightly from the truth, it will come back to get you. And once someone thinks that you are not an honest person, that is something you cannot shake.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really, it's an honor to sit next to you. I love Conway. It's great to have you as mayor, and it really is special to have you come talk to us today. I mean, this kind of dialogue is really important. And thank you guys for coming and being civically engaged. That's also extremely important. So we have these every single month. Our next one is with Jeff Amorine, who's the founder of Startup Junkie in Fayetteville. If you are a small business owner or want to start a small business, that is what we do at The Conductor. Everything we offer is free. We do one-on-one consulting and tons of events like this every single month. So thank you guys for coming. Thanks to UCA and Startup Junkie for making The Conductor happen. Yes. Oh, when? It's going to be on our website, arconductor.org, and we have a calendar of all of our events coming up. Thank you. Yeah, and this is our maker space, so you can come in here anytime and make things. We have a lot of stuff going on for Christmas right now, all the cutting boards sitting out that we've engraved for people, so I encourage you guys to come back. But thank you for coming. We'll have this recording on our website in a couple of weeks, and if you have any questions, let me know. And thank you to Bart. I'll see you guys next time.